Affiliate marketing is the easiest way to make money online in 2025, and I'm going to show you exactly how to set it up in this step-by-step tutorial. Right now, I'm making over $10,000 every single month from affiliate marketing, and that's purely as just a side hustle. That's 6 figures a year, and I barely put any time into it. So you don't need to know coding, you don't need to hire writers, and you don't need any fancy tech skills. By the end of this video, you're gonna have a working affiliate website like this, or any of these that can promote whatever products you want for a commission, making money for you completely in the background. And later on, I'm even going to show you how to use AI to create all your content for you. So the only time investment you need to make here is about 30 to 60 minutes to set it all up, and then right around $3 a month for website hosting. There's really no free version of that. So let's get started with step 1, which is getting your domain name and your hosting plan. So just think of hosting as the storage for all of your data, right? In this case, for your images, all the blog posts and articles that you're going to use to sell your affiliate offers in. So you just need a really reliable computer somewhere that's always on and really fast so that when people visit your site, all your content served up quickly. Now, I've worked out an amazing deal with my absolute favorite hosting company called Hostinger to save you over 70% off regular price. To get that deal, just click the link below or go to wesmcdowell.com/hosting. Okay, so once you follow that link, you'll wind up on this page and you'll know you have it. If it says up to 78% off hosting and website builder, that means you got the deal. $269 a month right now, plus 3 months free. I can't promise that's always what it's gonna be, but that's what the deal is right now. You get a free domain with it, which is great. Free website migration if you need it, and great support as well. So we're just gonna click on claim the deal. And so you've got a choice here. You can go with premium, that's just fine for most of the time, but I actually recommend business for a few reasons. It's less than $1 more, but you get a lot more with it. You know, especially if you get a lot of traffic, which for an affiliate site, hopefully you will be getting a lot of traffic. That's the name of the game here. This gives you up to 100,000 monthly visitors as opposed to 25,000. So you can make a lot more money if you have 100,000 visits versus 25,000. This also comes with a lot of cool stuff like WordPress AI tools. And here's the big one too, free CDN. That makes your website faster all over the globe. So I recommend it for that reason. So let's just go back up and click on choose plan. Feel free to choose whichever plan works for you though. Now you can choose how long you want it for. You've got, month, 12 months, 24, 48. I recommend 48. That just gives you the discount for a lot longer. If you got a year, the discount would be over after a year. So, but again, choose whatever you're comfortable with. And then I'm going to click on continue. Now it just wants you to put in your email address and choose a password, and then you'll click on register. Okay, so now it just wants you to put in all of your information, including your payment information. Then you just click on submit payment. Okay, so then it says something like this. So payment's done. You just click on the get started button. Now it's going to ask you some questions. You can skip all this. It's really not that important. And since we're doing a new website from scratch, we're going to click on create a website. Next. And then WordPress. We're not going to go with their website builder. Click on next. Okay, so here's another important step where we need to set the admin details for your WordPress dashboard. So why do we need that? Well, whenever you want to keep building your website, or if you want to go just check out the back end or anything like that, you need to log into it. So these are the details you're going to need for that. So I just recommend it be your email address and then a password you'll easily remember that's still secure. Okay, so I've got mine. Now we're going to click on next. And we're not going to choose either of these options. We're going to go down to create blank site. Okay, and now is the part where we can actually choose your domain name. Remember, that's something like yourbusinessname.com. So hopefully whatever you want is available. Sometimes it's not though, and you'll have to get a little more creative. So I'm just gonna try for, say, Wes McDowell Inc. Now, you've got all these options for all these what we call domain level extensions. That's your .com, your .me, .io. There's a lot to choose from, and there's more and more all the time. I tend to always recommend just going with .com for the really important reason that that's how most people think of domain names. And if you were to give people your domain name as a .net or a .org, their brain is more likely to remember it as a .com, so they're going to probably type in the wrong thing. So if you can possibly get your .com or something close to it that's a .com, that's what I would go with. And then we'll click on next. And it wants you to choose if it's personal or company. I'm just going to choose company and then next step. Okay, so just make sure your company name is filled in and that all this information checks out and is correct. And then you're going to click on Finish Registration. Then it's going to ask you where your audience is located, because here's the thing, you want your website to be stored. Remember how we talked about hosting is just a reliable computer that's set up somewhere, always ready to go. So you want that computer to be as close as possible to most of your customers and clients. So these are all their data centers. So if you're on the East Coast of the US, you might want to choose the one in Massachusetts. If you're more in the West, you might want to choose Arizona, or just choose whichever one in the world is closest to your customers. So for me in Chicago, I would probably do Massachusetts and then click Next. So now it's installing WordPress. Now this might take a couple minutes. So we're just going to let that run till it's finished. Okay, so now we are inside of the WordPress dashboard. So it may look a little different. There may be different things here. The main thing is if you have this dark sidebar over here with all of these elements, you're in the right place now. So the first thing we need to do is we need to add the theme for the site. So we're going to go to Appearance and Themes. So these are this different themes that are pre-installed right now. So they're very basic, they're very bare bones. We need something a little bit better. And there are, I would guess, probably hundreds of thousands of themes out there, but I've got one that's perfect for affiliate marketing, because at the end of the day, all an affiliate marketing site really is, it's a blog that you write blog posts that recommend certain products. You can make comparisons between products, all that good stuff. So, and there's one blog theme that's not only free, but it checks all the boxes that we're ever going to need for it. So let's just go up here and click on Add New Theme. And under Search Themes, we're going to type in Blocksy. It's this one right here. Just click on Install and then on Activate. But we have one more important step, and that's to install the Blocksy companion. Now that is going to give us access to all of the starter templates that we're going to need, specifically one that we need to use. So click on Install, and then it's going to bring you to this screen. We're going to go over to starter sites. Now, okay, so these are the starter sites that it comes with. And you'll notice some of them are marked Pro. That means you have to pay for them. But then there are ones like this one that are actually free. So you will notice, though, a lot of these don't exactly look like affiliate sites. This one does. It's like a news site, but it's paid. But then other ones like this one just kind of more look like websites, like for a service business or a product, something like that. We want to use this one right down at the bottom called News. It's a really nice looking theme for an affiliate site, and it's really easy to customize too. So we're just going to click on Import. Make sure you click on this to install the child theme. Next. Next, and then Install. So now it's just going to take a few minutes to kind of gather up all the stuff, all the dummy blog posts, all the images that it comes with. So let's just wait for this to finish. And then we're going to click on View Site. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like right out of the box with none of your customizations applied yet. You can see already it looks pretty clean, and it has everything that a blog needs. It's got search, it has the menu, logo, place for your posts, categories, all the good stuff that you're going to need here. So, but maybe you want your site to look completely different than this. Maybe you have an inspiration blog that you want to go for. Well, it's really easy to control just about everything here. So all we really need to do is go up to the top bar where it says Customize. Okay, so here we are in the customization dashboard. So we're just going to go through all these elements one by one, and I'm going to show you how everything can be tweaked in a way to just kind of really make this feel like you and your brand. So let's start with the header right up top. All we need to do is go to the sidebar and header. Now you'll see right away when we look at the actual header up top, it really mimics what's down here. So we have two levels. This actually lets you have a triple decker menu if you need that. This bottom row happens to be empty now, but if you wanted something like that, you can totally do it. So right now what we have up here in the top row is a menu, social icons right up here, and a search icon right here. Then underneath it, we have the logo, we have another menu, and we have a button. So first of all, things can be dragged around. So if I take the logo and drag it, we can put it in the middle now. And maybe we want to take this menu here and drop it underneath, just like that. Maybe we would rather move the search next to the menu down here. So that's how you move stuff. What if you want to delete something here? Like maybe we don't need this menu up here. Well, as you can probably guess, you're just going to click on the X and it goes away. And all these elements can be customized too. So if you click on socials, you can go over here, you can get rid of one. If you, let's say you don't have a Pinterest, just click on the X. But let's say you have something that's not shown here. You would just find the social network here, maybe Behance if you're a designer, and then click on the plus icon, and then that shows up there. You can then reorder them just by dragging and dropping them. You can change the size of them down here with this little slider. You can change the spacing, make them more spaced out or closer together. And you can even change the colors. So you can do things like change it to the official color of each social network, or if you go to custom, you would just change that up here under design. So you would just choose whatever color you want it to be, and then you would choose the hover color, meaning when you hover over it, it changes colors there. But I'm actually going to delete the socials. I'm gonna just click on the X, and then with nothing in that top row, the whole top row just goes away. And if you click on the button, you can customize that too. You can change what it says by just typing something new in here. You can set the link right here. If you have like an Amazon storefront, you can pop that in right here. And then if you go up to design, you can obviously change things like the font, the weight. Maybe we want it to be, semi-bold. And we'll actually change the button colors in a different way a little later, because we do actually want all of them to match. But I'm actually going to just get rid of the button as well. Now for the really important stuff, you definitely want to add in your own logo here. So let's just click on logo here. And then when you see the preview over here, let's click on the little pencil icon. And then you just find the logo file on your computer and you would drag it right onto the screen. And then click on select. Then you can change the size of it with this little slider to wherever it looks good to your eye. So now let's edit this menu right here. So we'll just click on menu, and you can go down and do things like item spacing if you want to give everything a little bit more space between. And there are different things you can change too, like the font and the colors. We're actually going to handle all of that in a future step just to make things even easier. But let's say we want to give this a little bit less space between the logo and the menu. All we need to do is choose this row right here and click on the gear. And then we're just going to go to row minimum height, and we're going to drag this to where it looks better. Something like that. And then we're going to do the same for this row too. We're just going to click on the gear, row minimum height, and let's just drag it around to see what looks good. And I'm pretty happy with that. And obviously we can change the background colors for this if you wanted to do that. If you wanted to go with a dark, just choose each row, go to design, and then just choose the background color. If you want it to be kind of a dark gray, we can do that. And then you can do the same thing for the bottom row, but I'm just going to go ahead and put it back on white. I think that looks good for this. And we can also do things with the search icon. So let's click right there. We could make it a little bigger if we want, so it's a little more in your face. And if we go up to design, we can change the color to make it a little darker so it's easier to see. And we can even move it over to the far end of that column if we wanted to do that. So it's super customizable. You can make this arranged any way you want. Okay, so now you'll see as we scroll down, the header goes away. The header stays right up top. Generally speaking, we want that to scroll down with us so that people can always kind of get to the menu. They can always search whenever they want to. So the way we're going to do this is we're just going to go back up here and we're going to click on headers, then global header, and we're going to turn on sticky functionality. And there's different options here. Let me just quickly go through this. So if I scroll down now, you see the top row is sticky. This row isn't. So what do we have here? We have a main row and a bottom row. So we need to choose main and bottom row as being sticky here. So now when we scroll down, everything scrolls along with us. Okay, so that's it for the header. So I'm going to click out of here. I'm going to go back. So under general options, now I'm going to choose footer. So if we scroll down to the bottom here, this is what our footer looks like. So we have 3 rows again, the top row, middle row, bottom row. And this all works the same way. If we want to get rid of the top row, for instance, there's no option to delete a row. All we have to do is delete everything in that row. Just click on the X's. So then in this row that we have left here, we've got 3 different widgets, widget area 1, 2, and 3. If you want to edit what's in here, you're just going to go over to the sidebar where it says widget area 1, click on the little arrow. And here we've got popular posts, and if you want to add something to it, you'd click on add block. You could add a gallery or a quote or anything like that. It's really customizable again. And you would do the same thing for the other widgets and just kind of edit what's inside there. But for a blog, I don't know how needed this really is, so I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of everything in here. So then we just have a simple copyright line right down here, which you can change by clicking on it and then changing the text over here. You might want to put in the name of your blog. And in terms of changing the colors of like the background here or any of the buttons on the whole site, anything like that, we're going to take care of all that right now. So before we do though, let's go ahead and click on publish. We do want to make sure we're saving our changes as we go. It's a huge bummer to do all this work and then something goes wrong and then you've lost all of it. So let's click on the back button now, and we're going to go out all the way to where we get back to general options, and we are going to choose colors. So the easiest way to change your colors is to go right up here to global color palette, and we'll click on advanced, and then on color palettes. Now they've got all of these pre-made palettes for you that are, designer selected, designer approved. So you really can't go wrong with these as long as it's appropriate for your own blog and your own audience. I might just go ahead and choose palette 8 here. And then of course, if you want more close control over what colors you're going to use, you can click each of these colors and you can choose whatever you want and it'll be reflected throughout the site. But if you're not really a designer, I highly recommend just sticking with what it's got. So I'm going to go back and I'm just going to choose the same palette I chose here. So basically this first color is going to be, these boxes right here. This color looks like it's pretty much the hover state whenever you hover over something. Then this one I believe is the body copy font. And then I think this is the headings. But there's one thing that's not really controlled here that we want to actually scroll down to, and that's your site background color. So this is really important in kind of establishing an overall mood for your site. So by the way, nothing at all wrong with just keeping it nice and simple like this. At the end of the day, people are coming to your site to really figure out what product's best for them and all that stuff. So you don't have to get too designy with it, but in case you want to, let me just show you your options. So right now it's set to white. I'm just going to click on this, and obviously if it's under color, you can choose any color you want to. You can choose to go dark, you can choose to go bright. Don't necessarily recommend that option unless you really know what you're doing. The other cool thing is gradients. Some of these can look really nice if you have like a tech blog or something like that. Something like this would look great for that. We've got all these different options here that can look pretty cool. And then we've got these down here, which these could actually look pretty cool for a travel blog, I think. They've got that kind of soft look, almost kind of like an Instagram-y quality, And you can also do a background image. I wouldn't recommend that. I think that's almost always going to look really bad. So I would resist the urge to go with the background image whenever you can. But I'm just going to stick with this. I think this looks pretty nice. So with colors out of the way, let's go back. And now we're going to choose typography. So this is where we choose the fonts for the site. Now, if you were to go to fonts.google.com, this will give you a preview of all the different fonts you have access to. And there are literally thousands of options. Like, it can be overwhelming, but you can kind of filter through them by, if you want display, or, if you want a serif, which has these little kind of ridges on all the letters, or sans serif, which is just cleaner. I think I like this one, the Josephine Sans. It's kind of a favorite of mine. So let's go ahead and go back to our site. And under base font, I'm going to type that in. And here it is right here. And I'm just going to click on I understand and click on continue. And so when you set the font at the base font level, that's going to filter through all of the different headings, body copy. It's basically going to take over all the text on your site. If you don't want that, if you want your headlines to be something different, you just want to go through headings 1, 2, 3. You just want to go through all of them and set the font that you want for your headings, and then keep your base font as your body copy font that you want. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I'm just going to choose a different one here that's a little more appropriate for body copy. I'm going to choose Montserrat, and then I'm going to go through and choose the Josephine Sans for the rest of them. Okay, so I've done that and I'm happy with how this looks. So let's go back out. We'll click the back button again here. And now we're going to choose how we actually want this whole page and all of our individual blog post cards to look. So this is where it starts getting good and you can really have close control over all this stuff. So we're going to go down to under post types. We're going to click on blog posts. Now here's where we can choose the general layout. So we've got 5 different options here. I'll just show you what they look like. So if we click on the first one, we get a layout like this where everything is stacked. The next one, it's stacked, but the words are underneath versus to the side. You can basically see the previews here. There's a straight up grid. And then this is my favorite one, the enhanced grid. That's what it comes with. I just like the variance of having 2 then 3, then back to 2. It makes it interesting for people subconsciously as they're scrolling down. And now we can choose how many posts will be displayed on one page. I think 10 is a good number before they have to click on next. If you make that number much higher, load speed will be affected. And if you make it less, then people are going to have to click through too much. So I think 10 is the sweet spot there. We'll get to card options in a minute, but let's look at page elements right now. So right now we do have this sidebar. And while I think it's good to have a sidebar when you're actually reading a blog post itself to see the other posts, I don't see much need here because we're already looking at all the different blog posts. So we don't really need this. It kind of gets in the way, if you ask me. So I'm going to turn that off right here just by clicking that little toggle. And then pagination, you want to keep that on. That just is this guy down here that lets people go from page to page. And then something fun, I'm just going to click on right here, is the cards reveal effect. Let's turn that on and see what it looks like. As you can see, the cards just kind of animate in as you scroll down the page. It's a little thing, but it can kind of make it feel more interactive and more engaging. So I'm going to leave that on. Okay, so now let's go back up to card options. And let's see what we're dealing with. So what we have here is these are all the basic building blocks that are going to make up each of your blog post cards, is what we're calling them. Post meta right here, that refers to the categories right here. Like this one would be considered nature and travel. This is the title, featured image, excerpt, and then another post meta where it has the author and the date it was published. So anything here that's grayed out, like the read more button or the divider, that just means they're being hidden right now. So if you want to bring this back, you just click on the little eyeball icon, and then we have the read more button. So just like we unhid that, we can hide anything we want to. So let's say we don't want the category cards showing up here. Well, all we need to do is just turn them off by clicking the eyeball. We can also rearrange things. So let's say we want the title to be underneath the featured image, which I think is a much cleaner look. That way all the text and the card element itself is all consolidated together. And I don't feel like there's much need usually for the excerpt. People will decide if they want to read an article or not based on the title and the image. This isn't going to be too enticing, and it just makes for a longer scroll. So I'm going to hide the excerpt. And then for the read more button, we have a few options. I'm going to click on the downward arrow. We can do simple, which is just going to be a simple text link, or background is what we had, or outline is a more simple version of that. I might just keep it there. I think that looks nice. You can change the text. Maybe you want it to say read story. Now, if we click on post meta and then click on the little downward arrow, we can control what's shown here. So maybe we want the author to be shown, but not the publish date. The reason for me liking to hide the publish date is simply because a lot of your articles may be evergreen, right? They may be able to help people at any point in the future, but people tend to have a bias against older content. So anything that looks like it was published a while ago, it may not get the click. So I like to just hide a publish date. I don't think there's any need for it. And then if you want to hide comments, you can do that too. There's no comments on this post, so that's why nothing was showing up there. But just for the sake of making this super clean, let's go ahead and hide that post meta altogether. And that just has a nice clean look. And we can change the cards gap by sliding this around to where it looks exactly how we want it to look. I think something like this looks pretty nice. And then inner spacing, that is where we can just make basically the padding on the inside. We can make that a little bit larger or smaller if we want to do that. I don't remember what it was set to before, but I think this looks pretty good to my eye. Okay, so now let's go up to design. And obviously the colors are already set, so we probably don't want to change them here. We would just want to change them in the global color palette like we did before. But we can change things here like the card background color, if you wanted it to be more like black, and then I obviously have to change the text to white to be able to be read over it. You can do a gradient, all these different gradients here, just like with the background color. But I think 9 times out of 10, white just looks the best here. It just looks clean. We can add a border to the card. We can change the shadow. I don't know if you can tell, there's a really subtle little drop shadow behind these that looks pretty nice. I'm not going to mess with it because I think it looks good, but you can click on adjust and change all these values if you want to do that. Then border radius is going to give that little the roundness to the edges. So if you want to play around with that, let's just type in maybe 8 to see what that looks like. I think that looks pretty nice. Total judgment call, whatever fits the look you want. And now there's one more thing to know that can really customize the look of this as well. Let's go back up to general. And here's where we can choose card type. So right now we have boxed, okay? This is my favorite one. I think it just looks the cleanest. We also have simple, where it gets rid of the white box behind it or the colored box behind it. So that's one way to go. Or we have cover. Now this one's a little trickier. So I'm sure you've seen blogs where it looks a little bit more like this, where we have the text and the button kind of overlaid on top of the image. This can be a really cool look, but it takes a little bit more kind of finagling with all the elements to get it to look right. So if we go to design, you can change the overlay color to a different color. You can change how transparent or see-through it is. And if you go to general, you can change the height of it if you want to do that. I'm just going to put it back. And you can change the alignment here too. So let's say you wanted to have all this stuff on the bottom, not on the top. I happen to think that looks a lot better. So you can go this way if you want to. Just make all the changes necessary. The main reason I like this one less is because you have to put this overlay on top of the images. And to me, it just makes all the colors more muted. And I feel like with a blog, the images do so much of the selling for you that you don't want to put a dark overlay on top of your images as much as possible. But if you like this look, you can absolutely go with it. Okay, so I'm just going to go back and I'm just going to choose boxed again. This takes care of the look of basically the homepage, right? When you get to the front page of your affiliate site, this is what people are going to see. This is the look. But what about what it looks like when someone clicks on an actual post? So I'm going to click on the first one here. Now we're going to go about changing the look of this page so it can look exactly how you want it to. We're just going to click on the back button here again. And one more time, we're going to get back out to under post types. We're going to go now to single post. Okay, so the first choice we're going to make here has to do with this top hero section. So we're going to click on where it says post title. We'll click on the little arrow next to that. So you can choose this look where the title is overlaid on top of the featured image, or you can choose type 1 where it's just the title without that featured image. Now if you go this way, you're obviously going to have to go to design and you're going to have to change the font color here. And then you would do the same with this text right here by clicking right here. But I'm actually going to go back. I'm going to go back to general and I'm going to choose type 2. I prefer the look of this one. Now I just have to change the font back. Go to design. Title font color, I'm just going to make it white. Okay, so we've made the changes to the hero section up top here. Now we need to figure out what the layout is going to look like down here. So let's click on the back button here. So these are the options we've got. So right here it's on narrow width and it's just a one column layout. Here we have the same thing, but it's a little wider. I tend to like narrow width more than normal. The reason being it's easier for people's eyes to scan, from here to here versus all the way from here to all the way over here. So it's just kind of a usability thing. Then we have an option of a left sidebar where we've got all the, people can search or look at the latest posts, or we have a right sidebar. So for my money, I recommend this layout because when someone's on your blog post, you want to give them easy access to see other articles they may like too. Unless you're really just trying to get people into one specific article where you're trying to sell them on one of your affiliate offers, you would maybe not want to give them that option, in which case you would choose narrow. I'll leave that up to you. And the other thing we have here is wide or box. So this is what wide looks like. Let's look at boxed. So that basically just puts a white box around the content. Now, I actually happen to like this the best, especially if you've got a color background going on here. You definitely don't want people reading on top of like a gradient or anything like that. So I think this is going to be the safest option. So these are the different elements you can have showing or hidden. So right now, the featured image is already taken care of because we've already selected this layout for it. But if you had chosen the other layout, remember where the title goes above the featured image or just goes on like a white plain background, in that case, you would want to check this on and then it's going to show again underneath the title. But we'll turn it off here because we've already got it there. Post tags like categories, you can turn that on if you want. You definitely want to turn on the share box. The reason is if someone's reading your article, you definitely want to give them the easy option to be able to share it. And that appears underneath the article down here. So we've got all these buttons so people can easily share it. You might also want to turn on the author box. So let's say you take guest posts or you write everything and you just want to be able to have a bio of yourself. You can turn that on there. And I think having a related post is a good idea as well. So those would show here. And then comments, that is completely up to you. I like to turn them off because I feel like the engagement you get is not nearly as good as the trolls you get are bad. So, between trolls and just spam, I recommend just turning comments off unless you really want to go for lots of engagement. Okay, so those are all the major decisions here. So this is what it's going to look like, or whatever you chose for you. Then we're just going to click on Publish to save all our changes. Remember to do that periodically. And then we're going to go back out. Next, we have to style our categories page. Now, what is a categories page? Well, let's say you have this article right here and the category assigned to it was trends. If you have a pet blog, maybe there's a dogs category, a cats category, and we just need to style what that page is going to look like once people land there. So let's see what we're dealing with now. Let's click on this for trends. So this is the trends category. So we just need to style this. We need to mimic what we've already done for the homepage. We basically want these cards to look the way we've already styled them to look there. So what we need to do is go to categories right here, and we're just going to make all the same choices we did before. I chose the enhanced grid for mine. You may have chosen one of these other looks. That's fine. I'm still going to go with 10 posts, card options. I would highly recommend keeping the same style. So if you chose this style before, the cover style, you'd probably want to choose that again here. But I chose box, so I'm going to stick with that. And if you remember, I'm going to hide the category up here. I'm going to drag the title below the featured image. I'm going to hide the excerpt. And for post meta, I'm going to hide that as well. And I'm going to add the read more button. And I'll choose outline there, and I will change it to read story like I had before. But again, you're just going to be doing the same thing you did the first time. And you could choose to turn on the sidebar here if you want to. That's up to you. But I'm done here. This looks pretty much exactly like we styled the homepage to look. So I'm happy. And I'm going to click on Publish. And then let's click on the back arrow. And we're going to do the same thing now for the author page. So first of all, let's click on one of these because we need to see what we're doing, right? So we need to actually get to an author page. So right now, once we're on an article, I'm going to click on the author name here. And this is what that page is going to look like. So it's going to have the author's name, the date they joined, and how many articles there are. You can change the background color here if you want. It's probably not super necessary. This is a pretty utilitarian page. But if you want to click on Edit and then Design, you could change the container background color to pretty much anything you want it to be. But I might just kind of put it back more or less the way it was. Or we can change the type to this one, completely up to you. And then we can change what shows up here. Maybe you don't care about, the date they joined, for instance. You just click here under author meta and uncheck join date, whatever you want to have there. And if I click on back, now we can just make all the same changes to the cards that we did on the home page and the categories page. So I'm just going to choose the same enhanced grid, make it easy, and go to card options. And we're just going to do every single thing that we already did. And then I'll go up to design and I will change the border radius. I think we have that at 8, and then click on publish. And then we'll go back out and one more time. And then finally, we're going to do the same thing on the search page. Let's get a little preview of what that's going to look like. So I'm just going to click on the magnifying glass here. I'll do a search for just the word welcome, just so we can see something. Okay, so we have one post with that. So once again, we're just going to make all the same changes we just made a few times already. Okay, done with that. Now I'm going to click on Publish. Okay, so let's go back out to our home page. Remember, whenever you click on the logo, that will take you home. Now this is looking pretty good, right? But I don't know if you know this, more than half of your blog's visitors are going to be coming from a mobile device. So you really want to make sure that it looks good on all devices. And the way we do that, we're just going to go down here. You'll see these little icons for a desktop. That's what we've been on, a tablet, and then a mobile device. So I'm going to click on that. And this gives us our preview of what it's actually going to look like. Now, the good news is with this theme, all of this has pretty much already been thought out for you. So there shouldn't be too many changes to make. You just want to make sure that everything looks good. You kind of want to reality check it. And if we click up here on these horizontal lines, that opens up the menu. That's all looking pretty good. Now let's say you wanted to get rid of some of this stuff. All you need to do is click on main row here. Now we're back to the header, but for mobile. Okay, so let's click on this again just to get the preview. So mobile menu, it's called off canvas area. This is this stuff right here. So we've got the menu, the mobile menu here, HTML, so that's just going to be like the address here, and then socials. So if you want to keep your address here, but you just want to change it, just click right here, and then you can change it to whatever you want it to be over here. If you want to delete it, you can just click on the X and it's gone. And then with socials, again, you get rid of anything you don't want. But we've already done this work, so it should already be how you want it to be, but make any changes at this point you want to. And of course, these colors don't really match. These are just the placeholder colors I chose before, but if we click on design, we can just choose our colors right here, and we're good to go. I'm just gonna click on publish now. Okay, so let's click on our desktop icon again. All is looking good except for, you'll notice the menu here. What are these pages even doing here? Like, what are these pages? How do we change this? Ideally, what you'd want on a blog or any kind of affiliate site is you want to be able to get people quickly to the categories that they're going to care about the most. You may even want a direct link. Like, let's say you're an Amazon affiliate and you have an Amazon storefront. Maybe you want to direct people to that storefront. So let's talk about how we can change the menu to have both, direct links as well as categories that people can find your best content. So we need to exit this area. The way we do it, we're going to click on the X, and then we're going to click on the little WordPress icon here. So let's go down to appearance and then menus. Okay, so if we scroll down here, we have the main menu. That's what we were looking at the top there. So we have all these different elements. I want to open up another window here so you can see exactly how this translates to what we currently have. So you'll see we have Gutenberg blocks, then we have all these other things kind of nested underneath it. So if you're paying attention, that's what this looks like. So Gutenberg blocks is the main navigation element. All these other things are a drop-down menu under it. Pages has the same thing. About Us and Contact are just standalone pages. Does that all make sense? Okay, so let's say we want to get rid of everything that's here already. I'm going to click on Bulk Select, and then I'm just going to choose all of these one by one. And then remove selected items. Okay, so now we have the main menu and it's totally blank. So how do we add our categories to that main menu? Well, we're just gonna go under categories, click the little downward arrow, and you can click on view all. Now, I don't know how many categories you're planning on having. I'm just gonna choose, 5 here, just for instance, like maybe these are the 5 you want. And if you had more, I'll show you how you can actually fit in more in a bit. So we're just gonna click on add to menu. Now, all of those categories have been added to the main menu. So let's see what this would look like. I'm going to click on Save Menu first so that we can preview that. So let's go back to our site, and I'm going to refresh the page. Now we have all of our categories right here, and if you click on one, obviously there's nothing in that category, but if we had something, there we go, now they start popping up. So that is categories. What about if you wanted to have a custom link to your Amazon shop or wherever you have your products that you're actually trying to sell? Well, we're just going to go down to custom links. Here's where you type in, your Amazon store. You'd pop that right in there, and then link text, something like our Amazon storefront, however you'd want to phrase it. We'd click on add to menu, and then there it is. We click on save menu, then that shows up right there. And if you wanted to add more categories, we can actually do it this way. So let's say we actually wanted to have 2 menu items where it was categories and then our affiliate links underneath it, where like maybe you have different stores you sell things through. Really easy to do. Let's just go to custom links again. So under the URL, I'm just gonna put the hashtag sign and then link text. I'll say categories, add to menu, and then I'll do it one more time. I'm gonna do a hashtag and I'm gonna say something like our best deals, I don't know. Click add to menu. Okay, so now I'm just gonna drag categories right up top. And I'm gonna take all the categories and I'm just gonna drag them over to the side. Oh, we don't wanna nest under nest. So we're just gonna do it like this. And then our best deals I'll put here and our Amazon storefront here. Then you could add another thing for, whatever else you sell. You'd add that and you'd nest it under here too. So I'm gonna click on Save Menu to see what that looks like. and then refresh it. And now we've got, so you can choose all the categories, or you can choose your affiliate deals. So now obviously this is great, right? But these aren't your posts. How do you add your posts? How do you get rid of these posts that are already here? Really easy to do. Let's just go back over to the WordPress dashboard. We're going to go over to posts. Now this is where you're going to add new posts, and we'll show you how to do that in a second. But first, we just want to delete all the dummy posts that are currently there. So we're going to click on all posts. So these are all the ones that came with out of the box. We're just going to click right up here to select all of them. Then under bulk actions, move to trash, apply. Okay, so now we're starting from scratch with no blog posts at all. So adding a new one is really easy. You're just going to go to add new post, and here's where you're going to add your title. And then right underneath it, that's where you're just going to type in the actual text for your article. So I just had ChatGPT come up with a little something, so I'm just going to paste it right here. ChatGPT gave me the headings, so those just automatically get formatted as headings. So here's something that's really cool about the Blocksy theme, and it's why I recommend it. It's a great free option because it comes with a ton of different blocks that you can use to help sell your affiliate offers. So it doesn't have to just be text or images. So if you go like wherever you want to add an element, you just hover your mouse there, click on the plus icon, and we've got some basic stuff here, right? These are pretty basic things, but if you click on Browse All, you have a ton of different blocks you can add in here. Everything from a carousel to a feature grid, an icon list, pricing box. There's so many different things you can add in here that are going to help you, a table where you can compare different options and then link to the one you choose. So there's so many different things you can do here. But just to keep things easy, let's go ahead and just add in an image here. I'm just going to click right here, and I'll choose image, and then I'll say media library, and then I'll just take an image I have and I'll just drag it right into the window and then select. Cool, just like that. Now let's say you wanted to insert your link here. You could say something here like book your trip now. Then you would just highlight the text and you would click on the little link icon and you'd pop in your affiliate link right here. Now there's one more important thing to do here because we need to set the main image. Remember how every article has a main image right here. So that's called the featured image. Now, just having put an image here, that's not going to take care of it for you. This is not a featured image. This is just an image within the article itself. So what we need to do is go to post, then we'll scroll down. Oh, first of all, we want to add a category, right? So if you're going to be categorizing all of your articles, let's click on categories. These all just came with the Blocksy theme, so we're not going to probably use that. I might add a new category of, Mediterranean, for instance, and then add new category. And then I would choose Mediterranean. Now it is categorized as that, and it's searchable with that category. But now let's take care of the featured image. So we'll click under featured image, set featured image. So you just drag it right on over, and then set featured image. And then once you're done, you're just going to click on publish, and then publish again. Don't know why they make you do it twice, but they do. And then let's just click on view post to see what we've got. Looks pretty nice. So we've got everything here. We've got the little image we popped in here. We've got all the headings. We have our link, all that good stuff that's gonna help you sell your offers much faster. Okay, so now that we have the website, our next step is to add lots of articles to attract traffic and sell your affiliate products. So it used to be really time consuming, but thanks to ChatGPT, it's incredibly easy now. So in this video, I'm gonna show you my exact system for using ChatGPT the right way to generate unlimited SEO optimized content that's ready to sell your offers. So click here and let's finish this up.